Hi, my name is Emily Jones, and this is Tensegrity Flow Yoga. So, what makes Tensegrity Yoga unique to other forms of yoga is we use the yoga asanas, the traditional yoga asanas, to practice the biomechanics of tensegrity. So, tensegrity means tension integrity, and that means that the integrity or your form is held together through tension, not by stacking the bones or stacking your body parts. So it's a kind of a shift of paradigm from biomechanics, which view the human body as more of an inanimate building in which we would stack our bones like bricks. And more toward viewing the body as a living, dynamic, constantly moving organism, which it is, and knowing that this organism is held together and in place through a unified sheath of connective tissue called fascia. It connects the entire body, head to toes, and everything in between. So there are some forms that you can do which help to maintain the tensegrity in you're always a tensegrity, but we can lose the optimization of that tensegrity when we hold our body in a way which doesn't balance the tensions. So for an example, a good one is in a forward fold. So if we're forward folding here and then shortening our front half, so you can see my spine is over round, my belly is shortened. And so I'm not in a good tensegrity form because I've essentially lost all of the tension, intentional tensioning in my core and also in my back because I'm overstretching my spine. I have no tension in a way that's holding and protecting my joints or my bones. So to practice tensegrity forward fold, we would do it in a way which maintains the tension. So that means when I fold forward, I'm going to keep lengthening and holding the constant tension in the abdominals, the back, and the sides, so that when I touch my body, I feel that I'm firm and engaged instead of soft and disengaged. So it's very much, it looks different from the outside and it really feels different from the inside. So the way you can always kind of touch base with and see where you are in your practice and in the postures is if you've lost your even balanced concentric squeeze or hug, then you're out of your tensegrity. And all you need to do then is back off until you can maintain the tensegrity. So it's very nice because it provides a stopping block almost. So we know how far to take each posture. And when we lose tensegrity, we can really risk, creating imbalances and possibly injury. So tensegrity really helps to protect your body, and it will take you farther into your practice probably than you've ever gone before. So this practice is going to be for tensegrity, and we're going to take it slow, and I'll offer some variations, but just do what feels right and keep tuning in to this idea that your body is a whole, from head to toe, one whole with varying degrees of elasticity, feeling that your bones press out into this hug or this web of connective tissue which hugs in. So we're pushing out and hugging in at the same time. So very much yin and yang. So let's begin. We'll go ahead and take a seat. And we'll practice for about 30 minutes. So we'll do some seated, some standing, and then some reclined postures. And again, remember, we're just using the yoga practice to practice tensegrity. So we're using the asanas to practice our rules of tensegrity. So let's close our eyes. And the first thing is to breathe. So the breath provides that inner buoyancy and the inner connection, drawing all of the parts together into the whole. Move in a way that changes the shape of your ribs. And if you don't feel movement in your ribs and your upper body, then you're not breathing deep enough. So we really want to begin to use that breath to move the body, to move from the inside. If you're familiar with Ujjayi breathing, then use the Ujjayi breath so you can hear the throat. Notice the mind begin to unsqueeze as you breathe. Feel that each part of your body expands as you breathe in and relaxes as you breathe out. Now let's bring our right hand down to the floor. We'll go ahead and ground it deeply. Extend the left arm up and then way over to the side. And as you extend your arm over, try to keep the neck in an even position. So practicing Tensegrity at the neck would be not dropping the head. So if you drop the head, you can see we get overstretched on the left side and squeezed or compressed on the right. So to correct that, we would lift the head to maintain this even concentric hug on both sides of the neck and on the front and the back side as well. Inhale, let's come into center. Do the other side. So simply ground the left hand. Inhale your right arm up. Try to keep your sit bones wide or widen your sit bones. Always making micro adjustments. Knowing that those micro adjustments are really what make the postures valuable and helpful. You'll have to adjust your body a lot. Check in with your neck. It's always nice also to have a mirror or something to look at your reflection. Not in a way in which you're judging, but just to give you some feedback, some information. Inhale, let's come into center. Get nice and tall in your spine as you roll your shoulders up to your ears and then onto your back. Widen your scapula off of the back. And then on your exhale, let's twist toward the right. As we twist, again, even is the goal. So not overstretching the neck just to get deep into that twist. Feel more balanced. Feel more that it's about creating an evenness in each one of the postures than about having extremes. Because when we have those extremes, then we also have areas which get slack as well. So you don't want to overstretch one part and understretch another. It's better to feel it whole. Inhale, center. Again, let's roll the shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, onto the back. Notice that the scapula squeeze together there, but then widen them. So widen the scapula so the collarbones and the scapula are equal distance. And then exhale, let's twist toward the other side, maintaining the upward lift of the ribs, feeling the abdominals evenly turning. Return to your breath. Place your head in a way that feels balanced to the rest of your spine. So the neck is so flexible, we can really overstretch our neck. So try not to do that. Resist the temptation to do that. And then inhale, let's come back into center. Now we've got to switch the cross of our legs here. So switch the cross of your legs. And we're going to do that on the other side. I'm going to go a little more quickly and I'll talk less. So ground the left hand, inhale the right arm up and over. Breathe deeply, extend. Exhale, come into center, do the other side, hand ground, reach, wide, extend. Inhale, come back into center. Roll the shoulders up, back and wide. Widen the scapula. Inhale, exhale, twist. Feel as if every movement you're floating. Feel the body's interconnection. Inhale, let's come back into center. Roll the shoulder up to the ears, onto your back. Then widen with your breath. And then exhale, twist to the other side. Breathe in. Breathe out. And then inhale, Back into center, and let's go into a hands and knees tabletop position. So as we get into our table, let's set our hands slightly in front of our shoulders and our knees slightly behind our hips, and begin to move into a cat or a dog tip, where we're rounding or extending through the spine. And notice it's very easy here to kind of collapse the belly down and get a big lumbar curve. But try to not so much do that as create an evenness in the opening from tailbone to the crown. And then as you exhale into your cat tilt, you'll begin to round into the spine, move the chin toward the chest. Inhale, move into dog tilt, chin and sit bones rise. Inhale here, and then exhale into your cat. Go ahead on your own a couple of times. And even as we're moving in these positions, which are opposite, and encourage a roundness in the back, notice that we still maintain an even hug in the front body as we move into the dog tilt position. So just because we're in the opposite extension doesn't mean we let the muscles flaccid. So keep the muscles engaged and feel how in all of the postures, it's a combination of working parts. So when you're in an extension, you feel both front and back sides working balanced. Okay, let's do one more here. And then we're going to work into a downward facing dog. So tuck your toes. First, lift your knees up, and don't be in a hurry to straighten your knees. So first we lift the knees up, then we're going to shift our shoulders back as if we're trying to touch our rib cage onto our thighs, and then straighten the knees. Keeping the knees slightly bent. So even though they're straight, they have slight bends in the knees. And then let's do that again. So deep bend the knees so the ribs touch back towards your thighs. And then slowly bring the knees down and resist your hips up the whole time so you feel those low belly muscles engage. And then the knees lift. We'll press the shoulders back. Begin to straighten the knees as the heels melt. And then high to 10 toes. Deep bend the knees. Ribs touch toward the thighs. And even as the knees come down, resist your hips up and back, so you feel long in your low back. The quads are probably starting to burn now, and that's okay. Let's do it one more time. Let's come up, and then we'll press the thighs back, press your ribs back, and then begin to straighten the legs. And we'll pedal the feet here a few times. So we're stretching through the entire back body. So you may notice the shapes, a little more intensity in one part of the body or another, but let's try to recruit the neighboring areas to help us have a full, more accurate feel and approach. And then we'll allow the heels to melt down, really press into your hands. And then look between your hands. Let's step the feet to the top of the mat. Right foot steps toward the outside of the hand, left foot toward the outside of the hand, and then maybe bringing your hand to a block into a forward fold. So when you enter your forward fold, if you get here and find that your spine is round and you're struggling for the floor, then it's better to have the hands on a block so that your belly can lengthen and you can maintain a lumbar curve. It doesn't have to be excessive, but long and lengthened. Hands to your hips. Inhale, let's come all the way up to standing. Inhale, arms reach out and up to the sky. We're going to forward fold again. Swan dive down, reaching the chest long and over the legs. Hands maybe come onto ridge tops if you can find the floor, maybe to a block. Shake your head yes. Shake the head no. And again, notice how the head is hanging here. So if you're holding excessive tension in your neck like this, then it's going to affect the whole. If the head is too loose and dangling, again, it'll affect the whole. Think about the neck as a secondary core. So gently engaging at the neck. Bring the hands to the hips. Inhale, let's come all the way up to standing, using the core to stand. Inhale, arms up to the sky. And then one last time here, exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Arms reaching around, down, and maybe to the floor. So each time you might notice the body releases just a little bit. Maybe it releases a lot. It might be releasing so little that it's hard to notice, but it will happen. Just hang in there. Bringing more weight forward into the front of your feet so that the arches can lift, the sitting bones can lift. If you dump weight into your heels, it's going to overstretch the hamstrings. Hands to hips. Inhale, let's come back up into standing. Once more, arms reach wide up to the sky. And you'll take your feet a little wider than hips width apart. Let's do a stretch over to the left side, and you can do it just with one arm. It's fine. Inhale, let's come back into center, and then over to the right side. Now here's the real key. So it's easy to extend the arm too far, press the hips too far, and then get really loosey here on this left side just to stretch further. So instead of doing that, what if we reach up, strong through the arm, press down into the left leg, and then like a big bow, crescent, an even crescent, reaching up through the left side, using your right side engagement to help support the ribs as they both sides rise toward the sky. So it will be less, you'll be less deep in the posture, but again, you'll be maintaining the integrity, the shape through the applied use of the tension. All right, let's do one more. So we'll go up, press down into the right leg. So as much as we're extending upward, we're pressing downward. We're using our whole body here, not just stretching the shoulder or stretching the arm. As much sensation comes in the arm as comes in the leg. Inhale, up, and then once more, bring the hand down. Roll your shoulders. Let's inhale the arms once more up to the sky. And then exhale, we're going to forward fold here, chest out long over the legs. Round your hands, bend your knees deeply. So when we step back, we want to do it in a goodbye mechanical way. We'll bend the knees, move the groins back. Now as we step the right foot back, we're going to plant more weight into the left leg so we can slowly step the right foot back and then bring the knee down to the floor. And then we'll adjust the front foot however we need to bring the heel closer under the knee. Inhale, lifting the arms up, low lunge. I'm going to give you a high lunge option. So either staying here in low lunge or lifting the knee up. Notice when the knee comes up, the hips go high, and then I'm going to squeeze my legs out to straight. So all of the transitions happen through bent knees, which engages the muscles, the myofascia around the bones, and then pressing the bones out into the fascia as we straighten the limbs or go towards straight. Let's lift, breathe. Extend through the heart. And then if you're in your low lunge, go ahead and join us in high lunge or find your way into warrior two. So we're going to take the blade of the back foot, lower it down, and then extend your arms out. You can get there easily from low lunge as well. So as we reach our arms, press down. Imagine that there's two short walls or really high blocks that you can press your arms down into. And notice how that takes some of the pressure out of the legs. So we want to use our arms here to support our legs. Use your entire body to hold this posture, not just your dear legs. Lifting up slightly through the front heel, just a little lift. So the arch engages, you can feel the muscles turn on in the front leg, and then lowering the heel down. keeping it just ever so slightly lifted, as if you could slide a piece of paper under the heel. And then breathe in a way that's buoyant, that lifts. And then let's open up your exalted warrior. So we'll take the left arm, reach it back, sliding the left hip down toward the heel. Stay upright in your right side body, so not so collapsed that we start to lose our tensegrity. Keeping balanced even in the tensions, and then exhale over to extended side angle. So the arm can reach. Breathe. Extend. Inhale, warrior two. Bring some of that weight into the back leg, into your arms. Adjust your feet as you need to. Inhale, open, exalted warrior, high lift. Feel the right ribs lifting, supporting the left side. Exhale over into extended side angle. Breathe. One more inhale. Exhale, we're going to come up, straighten the front leg, and finally we're going to stretch into triangle pose. So notice I'm kind of heel toeing that back foot forward a bit, and then I press the hips back, and then hinge at your hips as we come over. And forget about your arms for a minute. So let's inhale, come up, draw your left sit bone back and wide. That will move the right sit bone back and wide. Come over with long spine. So right and left sides even. Front and back even. And then the hand comes down, and then the opposite arm can go up. So again, where you don't want to be is here, overstretching one side and minimizing the other side. That is not the posture. It's not going to get you very far in your good biomechanics. So nice and long, breathe. Inhale, exhale, we'll come up. Now look forward over your front hand, and we're going to take one giant step to the top of the mat. Use your arms to circle. Bring that back knee into your chest. So transitioning like this will make you very strong in between. Press down into both legs. So not just the lift of the base leg, but your lifted leg, as if there's another big block, tall block, that you can press your leg down into. Maybe even pull your right hand to the knee and press your knee into your hand. So anything you can do to find a way to activate both of your legs. Inhaling. Maybe we take the leg and semi-straighten it. It doesn't have to go all the way straight, just enough to give us a little extra action. Breathe in. And then exhale, knee back into the chest, and then release back onto the floor. We're going to switch our legs, so ground into your right leg. We're going to lift the left knee into the chest. So notice I'm doing all these transitions through bent knees. Slowly swing the leg back, keeping the knee bent as your torso comes forward. The leg lifts, strong glutes. If you have the mobility in your shoulders, bring your hands onto your glutes. Press your hands into your glutes, glutes into your hands, and then straighten the leg. Using the turning action of your feet to turn your hips into the square. So as you isometrically turn your feet, that means an action without a movement. So isometrically turning the feet to move the hips. The arms can come out. Maybe they're on a chair or something. If you're really wobbly, definitely use a chair. I like my hands on my thigh. So I like to press the thighs into the hand into the thigh, and get extra extension. Notice where your neck is. Keep things in place. Breathe. And then exhale, release. Hug that knee into your chest. And then down to the floor. Great. Inhale, arms out, up to the sky. Exhale, forward, fold, chest long. Use the block if the floor is far. So hands are just as good on 2 blocks. And then we're gonna let the right leg support us as we lift the left leg up. Stay engaged in the left leg as you slowly extend it back. Find the footing. Bring the knee down. Let's adjust our parts so that we get really strong in our foundation, really steady in the foundation. And then we'll lift. Breathe. Inhale, the arms can come up to warrior one. High lunge. Sorry, this is high lunge. Breathe. Maybe the hands can come to the hips. Push down. That will give your ribs something to lift away from. All right, now we're going into that warrior two. So we'll ground the blade of the back foot. The heel will come down. We'll take the arms up. Open the arms. Adjust your feet so they're just right to support your body. On occasion, bend the back knee and straighten it so we don't block out the knee. Press the hands down isometrically to lift your ribs up. Maybe you lift off of both of your heels and then slide down deeper into your hips. And then the heels can return. Notice when the heels are lifted, we gain mobility in the pelvis as we've got a little extra room, a little extra freedom in that connective tissue. Breathe. Okay, inhale, exalted warrior. Right arm reaches back, left rib support. Find there's an even arch here in the spine. Exhale, over, extended side angle. Maybe take your left arm and circle it around to the sky to go over. Again, now really check your alignment. Neck is neutral. Touch the neck to find out where it is. This right side is long. It's not collapsed. Long. Left side is long. Inhale, let's come up again. Warrior two. Press down with the arms. Lift up through the heart. Settle the hips back into the posture. And then exalted warrior. Reach. Make sure you're breathing, so it's going to give you the levity, the inner buoyancy. And then exhale around one more time. The elbow comes to the knee nice and long. Instead of the arm swinging up and around, swing it down in front and around. Find your breath. Strong legs. If you feel your legs begin to fatigue, lift the heels. Regather the energy into the legs and then lower the heel. Inhale, let's come up, reach, straighten the front leg. Work the back foot in, extend, lift, and then exhale, hinging at your hips. As you hinge, the right hip goes back and wide. The left sit bone goes wide. If that doesn't happen, there's no room for your pelvis to tip. So we're moving from these hip joints. So we've got to get the mechanics in the pelvis right to make room for you to fold at the hips. Remember, it's not here. If you're short on your right side, then come up and adjust. And it would be better to be here in triangle pose than down here and here in triangle pose. So remember, integrity first. Breathe. And check into your parts. Again, no hanging necks. Inhale, let's come up, stand up, look forward over your front hand with a slow step. Lift up your ribs as you step to the top of the mat, hugging the left knee in. Press into your right leg on the floor. Press into your left leg into its standing position. So imagine something, a tall block that you can press your knee into, and then even into your hand. So knee pushes into the hand, hand into the knee. Feel how that gives you power, strength, and stability. Inhale. Exhale. We'll straighten the legs, kinda, so the knee stays bent. Imagine you can push your foot onto that wall in front of you. And then knee back to the chest. And then release. The foot comes down slow. Keep your groins hollowed as you lower. Let's pick up the other knee as we lift. And then we're going to slowly hinge back. So as you're hinging, keep the knees bent. Keep the muscles actively recruited Extend the leg, reach. And then let's bring our hands, before we straighten the leg, like before, bring your hands onto your glutes. Even if you have to turn your fingers back, is okay. Try to bring the palms onto the glutes and press the glutes into your hands into your glutes. Stabilize against that pressure. Turn your hips by moving the feet isometrically or turning the feet isometrically. So it's an action without a movement, right? So it's just an internal action and it will change the shape of your hips. Breathe and check your neck. I always like the extra stability at the thigh. I don't really like to bend my knee here. Following at the ankle, the knee, and the hip, long, and then inhale, we'll come back, bending knees to transition. Slow down, breathe in, and then exhale, release, bring the foot down. Really good job. Lots of good work there. Inhale, arms out, up. Exhale, forward fold. Chest over the legs. Maybe you bend your knees as you fold so you can maintain the tensegrity in the upper back, mid and low back, and then the knees can straighten as you enter into the posture. And let's step both of our feet back into a plank. Finding plank and lowering onto the belly. As we come to the belly, the right arm will extend. We're rolling onto the side. So the hand stays level with your shoulder. Press both hands down and pull your chest isometrically towards your left hand. And release. Do the other side. So left hand level. And then knees come in. Notice my head is up. And I'm going to push, isometrically pull the chest toward the hand. Even here, I've got a balance in the engagement between my pelvis and my ribs. So I'm not round. And then release. And let's take both arms nice and wide. Inhale, exhale, Salamvasana locust. Fingertips can be pressing down. Isometrically pull the mat back so your chest extends away from your pelvis. Big breath. Release. Hands under the shoulders. Inhale, rolling the shoulders back to lift the chest into a sphinx. And then adjust the parts here so that you feel an evenness in the spinal extension. Sometimes when we lift into sphinx, we are really kind of too much pressure down in the low back. So it can be good to go into the first sphinx first. So get things acclimated here, the spinal extension acclimated here. And then once we feel balanced and ready, then we can go up a little higher. Either way, you're pushing into the floor with your hands, pulling the mat back with the tricep muscles, the bicep muscles, upper arm muscles. Try to make some room under your armpits as if you had golf balls under the armpits. And then release. Let's come down, hands under the shoulders, press back through child's pose to release your spine. And breathe. And as you're here breathing, soften your shoulders and notice how that affects your hips. And soften your hips and notice how that affects your shoulders. And let's come into our hands and knees. And we're going to do a pigeon on both sides. So we'll bring the left knee forward and to the outside of the hand. And let your right leg travel back. And if you need blocks or some support here, then have those ready. Lift. And then we'll come forward just to the place that makes sense in your body. Closing the eyes. Adjust your alignment when you need to. Even here, try not to hang the heart and hang the head. Try relaxing your shoulders and notice how that affects the relax of the hips. Release your jaw. And notice how that affects your ability to relax your hips. And let's come back up. And to come out, we're going to press into the hands. Tuck your back toes under. Slide to your hands and knees. Let's slide back into child. Return into hands and knees, and we'll bring the right knee forward to the outside of the hand. And then lift your back knee and then settle your hips back, and then you can untuck the foot. So it's about 3 parts to get into pigeon. Always really mindful of your knee, so you don't want to injure your knee. So tightness in your hips will can cause tension in the knees. So stay upright if needed, use blocks if needed. And start to relax our shoulders and feel how that affects your hips. Relax the jaw, relax the hips. Closing the eyes. Deep breathing back into your hip joints, into all of that tissue around the front, the sides, and the back of your hips. And then let's come back up. And we'll once more press into the hands. And lift back. Last child's pose. Slide your hips back. And then we'll come into our hands and knees, and then onto the sitting bones, and then all the way onto your back. So as we come to the back, we'll hug the knees, kind of a natural thing to bring the knees into the chest when you lay down. So hug the knees, rock. And if happy baby is in your hips today, then you can hold on to the feet and rock. If a wide straddle is in your hips today, you can widen the legs and do a wide straddle. And then let's bring our legs back together. And we're extending the left leg long as we hug the right knee in. And you could stay here into the traditional psoas opener, or if you want to find a half saddle, hold on to the outside of your foot and let your knee go to the outside of your shoulder. So this is a little bit extra. So you get a bonus hip opener. I like to bring my hand onto the head and then press my head and my hand together. It'll give you something to lengthen your spine against and into. If you had your foot on a wall, the left foot on a wall, that would be really great here. So you can find a whole lot of length by pressing there. All right, now let's take both legs back up to the sky. And then we'll switch sides. So extending that right leg, hugging the left knee in into the psoas opener. And the knee here is going more toward the outside of your ribs. So it's not in and tight, but it's out and wide. And then again, if that half saddle is in your body today, you can hold on. I always also like to kind of sneak my fingers right there in that hip crease and make a little extra room. And then I'm going to slide my hand onto the top of the head and press my head in my hand to lengthen my spine. And imagine that the foot has a wall to press into to lengthen the hip. So all of these things help us to maintain the tensioning. But when we don't have anything to press into, it can be very easy to release the intentional tensionings that we need to draw the bones into a good alignment. All right, now let's release, and we're going to take both knees bent, and then we're holding on to the knees, pressing your knees into your hands into freedom pose, and rock right to left. Notice my spine is, I have an anterior tip, so I'm not round here. I'm not short in the belly and long in the back. I'm long in the belly and long in the back, both. And then release. Bring the feet down. And then extend the legs. Extend the arms into final relaxation, Shavasana. Closing your eyes. Make any adjustments to your parts so that you can feel your body very comfortable and even forget about the body. If there's a nagging pain, something uncomfortable, your mind will continue to be triggered to that. So make the adjustments so that you feel balanced and even. Closing the eyes. Letting the breath become minimal, quiet, the whole body becoming still, the mind becoming still. Begin to, with your mind's eye, feel your entire body. From head to toe, let this feeling of the wholeness of the body fill the mind. So feeling and thinking of nothing else. The wholeness, the connection. Imagine your body, your soft tissues, like a web, a sea of soft, supportive, liquidy tissue. You feel your bones like islands inside of this sea of liquidy tissue. Bones, solid islands, pressing out and floating in the sea of liquidy tissues. Feel how the two work together to give your body its shape and its form. One being useless and completely incomplete without the other. Both the yin and the yang of nature present in your body. And to bring your awareness back to your breath. Feeling the movement of your ribs as you breathe, and feel that movement all the way down to your pelvis. And see how deeply can you breathe? How far can you feel the ripple, the wave, the energy of your breath down through your limbs, up through your head. Can you feel it all the way down to your toes, out into your fingers, even up to your scalp, everywhere. With this breath, and in time with this breath, begin to move your fingers and toes, your wrists and your ankles. Extending further in a nice morning stretch. Over to one side or the other. With the long spine, using your parts evenly and balanced. Let's come back into a seat. And sit and observe the effect of your practice. Remembering your tensegrity as you move through the rest of your day. So this is our time to practice, get very good at this tensegrity, so we can use it without even thinking, use it second nature in all things which require our physical body, from sitting to even when we have an accident and might fall. Always there to support us and protect us. Thank you so much for joining me for this class today. It's been an honor to guide you and share. Namaste.